Welcome to Ace the Interview, presented by PA CareerLink, Luzerne, and Schuylkill County. Congratulations, you scored the interview. This is the first step to your new career. Today we are going to be discussing how to prepare before the interview, what to bring and what to wear to your interview, what to do during the interview, and what to do after your interview. Before the interview, research and preparation are key to a successful interview. Interviews are the ultimate first impression, so you want to make sure you are doing what you can to create that great first impression for yourself. The first thing you want to do is take some time to research the company. Visit the company website to learn about their mission statement, culture, and values. This is important to really know and understand because during the interview, they are going to ask you questions about your ethic, morals, and values to see if they line up with their mission statement, culture, and values. You also want to really take some time researching their clients, products, and services they provide so you have a better understanding of the company before you even get to your interview. Social media is also a great research tool when it comes to understanding the company's culture, public perception, how they interact with their customers, and even what their employees are currently working on. Check out their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even LinkedIn for tons of information regarding the company. Network with current and past employees if you have the opportunity to do so. Networking is a great way to get your foot in the door at a new company. If you know someone who is currently working or has worked there in the past, reach out to them to let them know you are interviewing for a position and would like to know more about the company. During your research, make sure you take some time to write down any questions you may have so they are prepared for your interview. Before the interview, you also want to make sure you take some time to get to know the position. Read the job description. I recommend printing it out and going through it section by section, making sure to take notes and write down any questions you may have regarding that position. Make sure to prepare responses as to how you would accomplish each task of the job description. And while you are researching, make sure to take some time to really get to know the position across the board. This helps you become more knowledgeable on the tasks you will need to complete and the skills you will need to have. It will also guide you in salary research. Although you never want to bring up salary information in the interview, you want to make sure you have an idea of what you are looking for and what the typical salary or wage is for that position. If the person interviewing you brings up salary, then you are prepared to discuss. Finally, you want to make sure you know yourself. This is a great time to reflect on your professional experiences, accomplishments, skills, education, and volunteer activities. Take some time to write down your involvement in all of these areas and make sure you are knowledgeable and comfortable discussing these during your interview. Also take some time to review your resume to make sure you are comfortable discussing your past experiences and can match what you are saying in your interview to what is written on your resume. Overall, by being familiar with all of your past experiences, you can better use those experiences as examples and responses to questions during your interview. For instance, if interviewing for a supervisory or managerial role, you may have only had frontline positions in your work history. However, as a volunteer, you may have led an effort or served in a leadership role with a nonprofit or community organization, which better demonstrates your ability to lead. Of course, you always want to make sure you are fully prepared for your interview. Know where the interview will take place and how to get there. If you have the opportunity, do a practice run around the same time your interview will take place. This will help you get an idea on traffic patterns, construction, where to park, and what the building looks like. If you are unable to do a practice run before your interview, then utilize Google Maps. Type in the address to make sure you know the correct route and use the satellite view to get an idea of what the street, building, and parking situation looks like. Make sure your resume is ready to go and you have at least 3 to 5 copies to take with you. You are also going to want to have your prepared questions, a pen and notepad, and your reference sheet if you have one. Padfolios are a great organized and professional way to bring all of these items with you. Make sure you know the interviewer's name so you can ask for him or her upon arrival, and be sure to plan your outfit. Dressing professionally is extremely important for a successful interview. You want the interviewer to focus on what you are saying and not what you look like. This means you want to make sure your clothes are clean and pressed and they fit well. Make sure your hair and fingernails are neat. Avoid any heavy perfume or cologne that may be distracting to the person interviewing you, and conceal your piercings and tattoos. You do always want to dress according to the job and company culture, so if you were going for an interview at a tattoo parlor, then you would probably want to show off those piercings and tattoos. A suit, preferably navy blue, black, or gray, is recommended, but if the position is for a warehouse, factory, or plant position, then a suit most likely won't fit the company culture. Instead, a collared shirt or a nice blouse with slacks would work best. If you are not sure what the company culture is when it comes to attire, then it is always better to dress more professionally and conservatively. An interview can be stressful, but it is important to learn how to manage that stress. Always remember to breathe. An interview is a two-way street. You are also interviewing the company to see if it is the right fit for you. Make sure to plan ahead and practice to reduce your stress level. If you are looking to boost your confidence, then assume the superhero stance. Stand in front of a mirror with your legs spread apart, arms on hips, elbows bent, head held high, and say, "I've got this." This helps not only increase your confidence level, but has shown to project power. Traditional interview questions are questions that are asked to get a general sense of who you are as a professional and how you may qualify for the position. Common questions that may be asked and that you should be prepared to answer include questions like, "Tell me about yourself," "Why should we hire you?" "What interests you about this job?" "Where do you see yourself in 5 years or even 10 years?" "What is your greatest strength?" and "What is your greatest weakness?" When answering these questions, remember to keep it professional and positive. A question like, "Tell me about yourself," they want to know about your professional background and not your personal background. And when answering a question like, "What is your greatest weakness?" pick an accurate weakness, but not one that may raise red flags. Do not use a cliche or something that is a strength like, "I work too hard." Pick a weakness that you can discuss how and what you have done to improve or grow from that weakness. Behavioral interview questions are questions that are used to predict how you would handle various work-related situations and include questions like, "Tell me about a time when you worked with a difficult team member." "Describe a time when you interacted with a difficult customer or client." "Give an example of a situation where you solved a problem." "Tell me about your proudest academic professional accomplishment," or "Describe a time when you didn't meet expectations." When answering these questions, be matter of fact and not apologetic. Remember to stay positive and be honest and discuss how you learned from that experience. When answering questions, refer to the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. You want to give an overview of the situation and context of the story. Explain the task you had to complete or what you had to do. Describe the action you took or what you had to do to get there and the result of your action. Let's do an example. If a hiring manager asks you to tell them about a time you overcame an obstacle, the situation may be that the hiring manager that assists you called off on the day of new hiring orientations. The task was to figure out how to manage that new hire orientation without the assistance of that manager. For the action, you grabbed another coworker to assist and guided them on what they needed to do to help with the orientation process. And as a result, your manager was pleased with the action you took to get through that new hire orientation without them. If you are looking for a way to help practice your interview skills, then you may want to check out the Big Interview website. The Big Interview is a great resource for getting tips on how to answer interview questions, including those traditional and behavioral questions we discussed in the previous slides. You can even record yourself answering a question and then play it back in order to see how you answered and what you looked like while answering the question. To learn more about Big Interview or to explore their website, log into your PA CareerLink account, click on the Career Services tab, and then select Interview Training. So we made it to the interview. We have practiced and prepped and done all of our research. So what do we do during the interview to make sure it is a success? The first thing is to remember to be professional. Your interview arrives the second you pull into the parking lot. So avoid playing loud music from your car or wearing headphones. Make sure you arrive 10 to 15 minutes early so that you have time to take a deep breath, make sure you have everything, and relax before walking in the door. The last thing you want to do is rush into the parking lot 2 minutes before your interview and run to the door to be on time. You are going to be out of breath, flustered, and you most likely are going to end up forgetting something. Turn on the interview you as soon as you step out of your car, and make sure to greet everyone with a smile and always be kind. Most likely, once your interview is complete, the hiring manager is going to ask the front desk staff what they thought of you, so you want to make sure it is a good impression. Turn off your phone and even your smartwatches. You want to make sure nothing is going to go off during your interview that may be distracting and unprofessional. That includes vibration. Turn it off, and if possible, leave it in your vehicle. Do not chew gum and use positive nonverbal communication. Body language is an important part of maintaining a professional look during your interview. So avoid things like crossing your arms, shaking your legs, cracking your knuckles, and waving your arms around while talking. If hand movement is a big problem for you while talking or when you're nervous, try to fold your hands together and in your lap to keep them still. Here are some general tips for answering questions. Remember, it is okay to ask for clarification. You want to make sure you understand the question so you can answer it as accurately as possible. Just ask if they are able to rephrase that question for you. Take a few seconds to really think about your answer before actually saying it out loud. And try to avoid using filler words such as like, and you know. Make sure to utilize your research and all that preparation you did before your interview by including information you learned about the company and the position in your answers. Be sure to draw on your past professional and educational experiences, and as always, remain positive when answering these questions. Illegal questions are any questions regarding marital status, children, age, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation. If you are asked a potentially illegal question, remember that it may not be intentional. The person interviewing you may be just as nervous as you are and are just trying to make conversation before the interview starts. Do not react defensively. Instead, remain calm and professional and ask for clarification on how the question relates to the job. If the person interviewing you continues to ask these questions, it is okay to professionally and calmly end the interview. In that kind of situation, I would recommend contacting the HR department so they know what is happening with that HR manager. It also may not be a company you want to work for if they're insistent on knowing the answers to these questions. An interviewer is always going to ask if you have questions, so make sure you have some written down and prepared. I would recommend having at least 3 to 5 questions ready to ask. Some good questions to ask include, how would you describe this company's culture? Can you tell me more about the day-to-day responsibilities of the job? Describe some of the most important skills or qualities someone would need to excel in this role. What do you like most about working for this company? What is the training process like? And even what are the next steps in the hiring process? This question is important to save for the end because it lets the interviewer know you are done with questions, and it also helps you prepare for the next steps. Before you leave, make sure to shake the interviewer's hand and thank the interviewer for taking the time to meet with you. You'll want to ask for their business card so you can contact them if needed, and be sure to know what those next steps are in the hiring process. Virtual and phone interviews are an important part of today's hiring process because it allows the HR manager to decide whether or not to invite you into their facility. It saves them time and resources because they don't have to worry about reserving a conference room or gathering other hiring managers at a specific time. It also saves the interviewer time and money on both travel and gas. For a virtual interview, make sure your technology is working properly. Test out your microphone and camera and make sure your internet is working okay. The last thing you want during a virtual interview is for your internet to go out and for you to get disconnected. I recommend testing out your camera, microphone, and internet with a friend or family member. Set up a Zoom call, FaceTime, or whatever other video device you'll be using to make sure everything is working okay. Make sure to prepare your environment by finding a quiet place where you can be alone. Sit in front of a blank background so you remain the focal point. If you can't be in front of a blank background, then make sure it is professional, clean, and organized. The messier the background, the harder it is to convince the hiring manager how detail-oriented and organized you are. Check your lighting. The trick is to keep the light in front of you. Use your phone camera to make sure everything looks okay. The camera on your phone shows the same exact picture as the camera on your computer. Stay focused on the interview the whole time and be sure to maintain eye contact with the camera throughout your interview. When you're looking down at the screen, it looks like you're looking down and not at the person interviewing you. Remember, this is an interview, so dress professionally from head to toe, just like a traditional interview. It's not only professional, but it will make you feel like you are at an actual interview and give you more confidence, even if it's just a phone interview. Also, make sure to have the same stuff in front of you that you would bring to your actual interview. Your resume, questions, a notepad, and any other resources or research that you may have. However, make sure they are laid out in a way that prevents you from flipping through the papers throughout your whole interview. This could be distracting to the hiring manager. So you've completed the interview. What are the next steps to take? After your interview, make sure to send a thank you email within 24 hours. 80% of interviewers say receiving a thank you note impacts their decision making, but only 24% of candidates actually take that time to send a thank you note after an interview. Keep it professional and short. Thank them for taking the time to meet with you. Reiterate your interest in the position and company, and restate your skills and the value you offer. It is definitely okay to follow up with the employer, but make sure you aren't pestering them. If you don't hear from the employer within the timeline you were given, then reach out via email or phone. For example, if the hiring manager says they will be making a decision in 2 weeks, don't reach out to them in 1 week expecting an answer. Wait the 2 weeks and then maybe even 48 hours after that, and then give them an email or a phone call asking what the status is on the hiring process for that position. Give them a few days, and if you don't hear from them, try one more time to reach out via email or phone. If you don't hear from them after that, don't continue to pester them. Instead, move on and if they do decide on you, they will give you a call or reach out to you via email. That concludes our Ace the Interview presentation. I hope this presentation gave you a lot of helpful tips and resources to succeed in the interviewing process. For more help on acing your next interview, please feel free to reach out to the PA CareerLink staff. You can also utilize the Big Interview website for interview training, practice interviews, and other great interviewing tools. If you are interested in reviewing more of our workshops, check out our Facebook page or visit our website at pacareerlink.pa.gov for more information about our upcoming workshops. Thank you for attending and have a great day.